I'm willing to bet that what means a lot to me as a creator looking for a new camera probably means a lot to you as a creator looking for a new camera. So the nerd that I am put together a massive spreadsheet with over 40 different camera models covering over 20 different specifications to compare the latest from Sony, Canon, Nikon, Fujifilm, Lumix, and a couple of different action cams. There's either a bug or a coffee ground in my coffee. Because the reality is, there's no such thing as the perfect camera, or at least the camera that has everything, because you're always going to have to sacrifice size or performance or cost to get everything that you want. And if you're like me, you care about having memory card redundancy when you're doing client projects, or you may or may not want a full-size HDMI port. You're going to want advanced in-body image stabilization and some AI autofocus modules to make it seem like there's a real person on the other end of your camera. So I'll leave a link in the description where you can access this spreadsheet. And please let me know if there are any camera makes and models that you want added, because I can definitely keep this updated over the next couple years. And what I did here is highlight each row with some cameras that kind of stand out in the market. Like, what do people talk about the most? So first up, we have the Sony a6700. There's almost nothing bad about this camera except for the fact that it has one memory card slot and it overheats. Coming up close behind it, there's the ZV-E10 and 10 Mark II models from Sony that came out at the tail end of 2024. Great cameras, but still overheats, still has a crop sensor. The Sony a7 IV is a god tier camera from what a lot of people say, but they are due for an a7 V upgrade somewhere in the near future. Sony's FX30 and FX3 are very popular cameras amongst YouTubers and video creators and some even live streamers. It's nice because they both have dual memory card slots, they have full-size HDMI. Probably the biggest downfall with these two models is that there's no viewfinder, or at least they're not very good at taking photos because you don't have a mechanical shutter like you would with another camera like the 6700, for example. Moving on to Canon, I'll tell you something here that you might find kind of interesting. This also might sound really bad to some people, but I've had creators tell me that Canon is like the Apple of the camera world, where everything is a little bit more expensive, maybe a touch more premium, but not necessarily like better quality. And their accessory ecosystem is a bit tighter because Canon kind of wants everything to be proprietary. I don't know a lot about Canon cameras. I know the R series is extremely popular. You look at people like Peter McKinnon, for example, who will use Canon probably till the day they die. They obviously make a good product. I just don't know a lot about them. The R5 and the R6 are wildly popular, but they're still pretty expensive. There are some cheaper Canon options, or I should say more affordable Canon options. This is a good time now to talk about Fujifilm. They had their X100V and X100 6 or I, whatever you want to refer to it as. These cameras became trendy to have. They became out of stock everywhere. People started flipping them on Facebook Marketplace and eBay. They became trendy, and for good reason. They're great cameras, but they're also not amazing for video. Although they can do video, they're not going to shine necessarily if you want to be a YouTuber or a streamer, or at least use them for that purpose. And Lumix is something to bring up because they've recently entered the creator market in full force. Harris Heller from Senpai Gaming, he has recently, and is still in the transition of switching his Canon and Sony cameras to the Lumix S5 and the S9 because they are more affordable than some of the bigger names because they have to be a bit more price competitive because they don't have as much market share. There aren't as many lens options, but that can be a good thing depending on which way you look at it. And These two models here, the S5 and the S9, they're going to do 90% of almost anything that you would want to do as a creator. I have the GoPro and DJI action cameras in here. I'm not specifically looking for one right now, but I just thought it was really neat to be comparing all these different specifications to each other. So definitely let me know if there are any other cameras I should add to this spreadsheet. This could be a really good resource for other people like you and I that are upgrading cameras or replacing them over the next couple years. And if you use this spreadsheet and it helped you make a decision on a camera, I'd love to know in the comments of which model you ended up purchasing and why you made that purchase. That's it for this short video. Derek out.